Welcome to LOA Today. Walt Thiessen and life coach David Bartke here. And actually, unfortunately, David can't be here today, even though that's the way we always introduce it, because sadly, his dog Pebbles is in very bad shape and has to be put down today. So unfortunately, David can't join us on the podcast, which is an unusual piece of unhappy news for us. But there is going to be a full show that we're going to do later today at 7 p.m. New York time. My former co-host Joel Elston is going to join me, and we're going to do a complete show then. We're going to talk about Abraham Hicks and the Law of Attraction, particularly Chapter 14 of the book Ask and It Is Given. So that's something to look forward to. Put it on your calendar. That's this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's New York time, GMT minus 5. So be sure to tune in then. However, we had promised people that we were going to accept call-ins today. I'm not sure if we're actually going to get any, but I figured, well, we should probably try to do at least a partial show at the normally scheduled time. And I also wanted to share with you some stuff that is upcoming, some exciting stuff that's upcoming. First of all, because of this new platform we're using to record the show for PRN, this blog talk radio platform that we're now using, not only does it enable us to take calls from listeners like yourself, but it also enables us to do a more frequent podcast than we were able to do before. And by the way, if you want to call in, please do so. I can take your call and we can talk about the law of attraction. We could talk about any issues you've had in trying to apply the law of attraction in your life. The guest call-in number is 516, that's area code 516-387-1258. So please do call in if you are interested in talking to me and sharing some of your experiences, maybe some wins about the law of attraction. But anyway, as I was saying, this platform does give us the ability to expand the show and do it more frequently, which is something that Joel and I actually talked about for the longest time, being able to do like a drive time show and so forth. That was really exciting to us. So the prospect of doing that going forward is still very interesting to me, even though Joel can't be doing the show anymore. So I have begun to reach out to other law of attraction coaches. And I am very hopeful that sometime in the next week or two, we're going to bring at least one, maybe more of them on and start expanding the number of times per week that we do the show, which is pretty cool when you think about it. And it looks like we actually have somebody who's joined us. So let's see who's on the air here. I'm going to bring them in. And who's calling in today?
No, hi, this is Matt.
Hi, Matt. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty good.
Well, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Oh, not much, man. Just wanted to pop in and say hello and talk a little bit more about how law of attraction's really been great in my life and
tell us about it. We love hearing wins. So tell us what's been going so great.
Yeah, man. Started my own company and and looking to get a new apartment. So right now I'm just looking at how can I really zero in and really make the law of attraction work for me in getting this new apartment that I'm in the middle of negotiating for. Like literally just got off the phone with the broker and I'm in the middle of negotiations, but I want to keep this moving forward positively.
Sure. Can I also take off track for a second? I'm really curious, and if you don't want to talk about it, it's okay, but what kind of business have you started?
Oh, I do food safety consulting. So I work with manufacturers and assist them in getting different industry certifications and help them prepare for their FDA inspections.
Oh, yeah, that's really important these days. That's the kind of business I can see where that could take off for you. So good luck with that. That sounds really great. Tell us about the new home you're trying to get.
Well, it's on Central Park South, which is right across from the park, man. What I've been doing is just been imagining how my life is going to change for the better by being able to just go to the park every day, to be around that high level of energy, to be in the center of the city, but also be able to escape into nature at the same time, and really just already put myself in there as if I've already been living there and talk to myself about how much I love living there, how I love inviting people over, and keeping myself in that mindset.
Now, we actually broadcast across the country and around the world, so let's make sure we are clear about which park we're talking about. I'm guessing that you're talking about Central Park in New York?
Central Park in the middle of Manhattan, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, Central Park South, that's a pretty cool area to be.
Yeah, it's like a block from the Plaza Hotel.
Wow, fantastic. Well, life's got to be good then if you're looking at an apartment in Central Park South. I mean, no matter how you look at it, that's got to be good.
That's what I'm telling myself, man.
Why are you having trouble believing it? I mean, wow, most people would say, "Oh my goodness, what a great place to have an apartment."
I'm not believing it, but what I'm looking to do is, I've started to manifest it, right? But I don't want to like lose focus or lose a momentum partway through and get discouraged by the process. Because sometimes for me, when I'm in the middle of it, when I'm in the middle of negotiations, this is where I sometimes have issues. And I want to be able to push through with positive energy and maintain focus and keep my intent strong, even when it looks like, oh, someone's pushing back on this, or they want to negotiate down, or they're not negotiating, or whatever, whether it's with clients, whether it's apartments, or anything. You know what I'm saying? So
sure.
that's kind of what I'm looking for, maybe a little extra edge, that something that I might be missing or not fully taking advantage of. So that's what I'm calling.
Okay. Well, one thought that occurs to me is that whenever we are up against something that is causing us or inducing us or encouraging us to fall off focus, to start falling into that negative vortex that we want to stay away from, one of the primary tools, of course, that they give us, that the gurus give us, is to learn how to pivot, right? And I'm sure you must be good at pivoting, otherwise you wouldn't have gotten where you are so far. So my first question to you is, what would be can you think of one way that you kind of trip up and what pivot you can turn to so you can be ready to pivot to it when it comes?
Oh, I'm not sure. Let me think about that.
Because obviously, when you're thinking about a pivot, what you're really looking for is the silver lining. You know, when you're talking about something that's knocking you off balance, that's a black cloud, right? That's something that you're fearing and that you're not feeling good about. And so imagine one of those black clouds, and then imagine what's the silver lining that goes with it. Can you do that? Can you pick out a black cloud and decide what the silver lining is? Like, what's your worst fear? What's the worst thing that could possibly happen in your fear-based side of it that you're trying to stay away from?
Well, I guess my fear would be that in my presence to negotiate one, I'm just going to lose the opportunity altogether.
Okay, so what's the silver lining to that?
Maybe there's something better out there.
Yeah, that could be one. That could be a really good one. In fact, there are a lot of cliches about when a window closes, the door opens. So yeah, that would be a big one. There's a great one to hang on to. If you find yourself in that spot, go to that one. Can you think of any others?
I'm still thinking.
Okay. Well, while you're thinking, don't spend too much time on it, because obviously we don't want to spend time going toward black clouds. But I guess what I'm saying is, when you are facing something like this that you're trying to attract, obviously one of the biggest things you want to do is put it out there and then let it go and not worry about it. What you're saying is you have a tendency to sometimes worry about it. And when you're worrying about it, that's what's driving you into the black cloud. Well, but like I jokingly told Janet last week, don't worry about it, which is a lot easier said than done. But the trick is to refocus on what it is that is so great about it, that excites you. So that's what silver linings are all about. Silver linings are about trying to refocus on where the good part is. What's the good news? What's the good stuff going on? And even if you're not facing a black cloud, that's still a great activity to do, to keep focusing on what's the good part. So tell us about what's exciting about this. I mean, and put the excitement in your voice. I want to hear how great this is.
Sorry, it just got really windy. Hold on.
No, that's all right. Take your time, Matt. The problem of using a cell phone when we're outside, isn't it? Dealing with the wind. Uh-oh, I hope we didn't lose you. I still see a connection.
I was trying to get to some shelter because literally the wind was so loud
Oh
I
my.
couldn't almost hear you. You couldn't hear me. So.
Oh, okay.
So
did you catch the gist of what I was saying?
I did.
Okay.
Well, let's see. I mean, even if, let's just say, this one were to disappear,
Okay.
the opportunity came up really fast. It was
That's
really
cool.
easy. It didn't really take any effort. A friend of mine even found the listing for me. So surely, if it could happen that easy once, it's possible for that to happen that easy again.
It likely would. If this one were to fall through, it would likely happen again as long as you stay in that positive place. So, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
Right.
Now tell me again, give me the exciting part about what's so great about this particular apartment, what you would love about it. What would be just absolutely knock you over the moon?
Well, I mean, part of what's great is that it comes partially furnished. So, like, I've got some, I have some old furniture I was looking to replace anyway, so it comes with it. So that's great.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Like I said, the location, right in the middle of the city, right next to like all the subway stops. It's barely a walk to anything you need to get to. So it's super convenient. It's easy for people to find if I was trying to direct people to come over. But like I said, really just being able to just go into the park and just go for a run, go for a bike ride, it's right there.
And you're right near everything there, aren't you? I mean, that's like at the center of everything in Manhattan.
Yeah. It's right there. It's just like a block or two from Carnegie Hall. Like I said, it's a block away from the plaza. It's a block away then also from one of the largest Mac stores in anywhere. So
there you
if you're
go.
a fan of Apple computers and stuff like that and iPhones, it's right there.
Hey, you gotta pick what's important to you in life, and that's important. So that's good.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, it's just there's just a lot. There's just a lot of things that are accessible to that. Plus, it's a really nice building. It's concierge building. It would be a great experience. It'd be a much better experience than my previous apartment.
I can imagine, yeah. Now, with your new business, is your new business something where you work out of an office, or do you do that from home, or what do you do?
Well, I do some remote work. Mostly I travel to the client, but the other thing that's really great about it is, again, like I said, it's just it's in the center of the south part of the park. And if you just go over to the southwest corner of the park, right there's Columbus Circle, and there's flex space offices right there in one of those buildings, so that when I do trainings or when I have people come into Manhattan and meet me, there's the office space that's right there.
Nice.
So it's like I said, it really is convenient to everything.
Really good. Yeah, that's perfect. That when you can have something that's close enough that you can do your work without having to bring it home with you, so to speak, which I know quite a bit about. That's like that's a dream come true right there. That's really fantastic.
Yeah. So there's so many positive things about the location of the apartment and the layout. It was just refinished. It was just remodeled. It's got upgraded appliances. It's got a new floor. It's got the lighting in there is nice. And with it being a pre-war building, a lot of the times some of these apartments don't get renovated as much as others. And this one was one of the best renovated ones in the building that I saw.
Fantastic. Now, do you have friends who live in the neighborhood?
Yeah, I do. I'd be close to my friends as well. Yeah.
See, that's even greater, because it's the things like that matter the most in life anyway, from my viewpoint. So to have your friends nearby, oh my goodness, that seals the deal as far as I'm concerned. Let alone having all the other perks.
Right. And another friend of mine and myself last night, we just became members at the Carnegie Club last night. So
no kidding.
That's also just a couple blocks away, and that's really great atmosphere, place where we can meet, relax, hang out, listen to some good jazz music. They have live jazz on the weekends. It's just a really great atmosphere. So I've just ever since I saw the apartment, and I looked at the apartment on Friday, and I've just been imagining how amazing it's going to be able to be back in the middle of the city, back close to my friends, and be able to have all these experiences again.
So everything's going to go well getting this apartment. That's what we're putting out there. How do you expect it's going to play out? What's the timeline that you're expecting about how this is going to play out so well for you?
Well, looking to move in top of the year. Yeah.
Okay. So when would the close take place?
It could be by the end of this month.
Okay. So that's what we're putting out there. You want the close to be by the end of the month.
Yeah.
Which would be a fantastic Thanksgiving present.
It'd be great. Yeah. Great going into the holidays knowing what's coming up. And then when, even better because then of course with the holidays and you're around family and everyone, you can share the good news with everyone. Everyone else can get excited about it. It'll have a ripple effect and everyone's lives.
Interesting thing about Thanksgiving that just occurred to me while we're talking here. There is an article that appeared in the LA Times today entitled "The Key to a Happy Life, Gratitude That Goes Beyond Thanksgiving." And as you might imagine, the article is basically saying don't just be thankful on Thanksgiving, be thankful all the time. You have something here to be really thankful for in advance, which is really nice. So I would suggest taking some time and just be grateful for the opportunity that came to you. Because as the article says, gratitude empowers you. It says, if we're so depressed about what's going on in the world that we can't act, what does that serve? So part of what we're trying to do is keep people connected to gratefulness as a source of activism. That's what Christy Nelson, executive director of gratefulness.org, said when she's describing the organization as an online sanctuary dedicated to fostering grateful living. Well, how is that different from what you're dealing with? I mean, that's like right on to what you're dealing with. You are in a place where gratitude is going to empower you immensely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you want to be basically just counting the blessings, so to speak, regarding the fact that this opportunity came to you and you have a chance to have the home of your dreams and it's going to happen by the end of the month. I mean, just focusing on that every single moment of the day, practically, that's going to just suck it right to you. It's just going to draw it right in.
Okay. All right.
The other thing that the article talks about that will probably help you somewhat is remembering that there are a couple of other aspects to gratitude that are really, really big. One is that gratitude helps you sleep better. And particularly when you're dealing with something like this where you're just waiting for the thing to happen, it's nice to be able to just go to sleep at night and just relax and just feel good and just, say, okay, the world is taking care of itself. I'm in a good place and I'm going to stay there and now I can just go to sleep. And the other thing it does is gratitude fends off depression. Depression, of course, being one way of describing falling into the negative vortex. Well,
check this
out. The more you're grateful, the less likely you're going to fall into that.
Yeah.
So
and as we're talking right now, the broker is coming back and telling me that the owner, because I countered to ask him to lower some of the fees or for him to pay for some of the fees, and at first he didn't. At first he just said, "Well, we'll agree to basically what the original offer was." And I'm like, "That's not a negotiation. Like that's part of what I was dealing with just now." So I said, well, tell him I want this. And they came back and they're going to cover an additional $600 towards the fees.
Fantastic. Hey.
So it's like as
terrific.
we're talking about it and as I'm telling you about it, it's literally happening right now. So now I'm going to text her back that I agree to that. I agree. And boom, here it goes. So now we just got to go. Now we got to jump through all the hoops. They got to do like all the rest of the, the logistics and the credit checks and the reference letters and all that other stuff. And I have to be approved by the condo board and everything. So now we're past the one hoop. So now what it is? Now it's just taking everything that you just said and basically riding the wave of this win, and then pushing that through to like. The condo board's not going to have a problem. The owner's not going to have a problem. No, it's just going to, everything's going to be perfect, Because,
even turn the language around a little bit. Make it not that it's going to be not having a problem, but rather that everything's going to go smoothly. Change the language.
Everything's going to run smoothly. everyone's gonna approve and be happy that I'm gonna be coming to the building.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. This is great. I have to say, Matt, I'm really glad you called in because this is just making my day because the day didn't start off really good with David and the situation at home. Oh, my goodness.
It's making my day. I'm going to get my apartment, man. It's so awesome. It's so awesome.
All right. Now
to be able to say,
like, easy question. What are you grateful for today?
Man, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that David reminded me about the show. You know what I mean? To say, hey, by the way, we are having the show again. So if you want to call in. I was like, yeah, man, okay, all right, sounds all right, fine. Even though I was like on the train and I'm traveling, I'm like, I'm gonna make it a point. I was just doing my meditation. I've been doing these morning meditations with Oprah and Deepak. They had a 21-day experience. They do these free experiences, but I haven't missed a day. And I'm telling you, man, like and you combine that and that attitude plus all of the law of attraction work and stuff like that, it's like, you can't lose.
No, I mean, put it another way, really you're winning like crazy.
You're winning. Like, I'm really grateful for like all the resources that have been offered to me. You know, I'm really grateful for my friend who looked for the apartment when she knew I was busy working and doing other things and building my business, knew that I wanted to move back to the city and was just keeping an eye on things. Was like, hey, look at this. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the one. You know what I mean?
What
like,
a great friend. What a fantastic friend she is.
Such loving friends, even though she wasn't feeling well at all this week, she was like, you know what, I'm going to see if I can do something. And she found something, and she even went with me to go view it. I mean, I'm so grateful for that I have like a second opinion and some reassurances and all that support. You know, I have a lot of people around me right now that really want me to be successful and really want me to have a good life. And it's just, I'm so grateful for like all my friends, for my family that are being so supportive right now, for you, for having, even just talking to me, on the show. It's just amazing. Yeah.
It sounds like you owe your friend a steak dinner or something great like that. I mean, my goodness, what she's been doing for you.
I got her a present. It's good.
Oh, good.
I took care of her.
All right. Yeah. Hey, that's great. Wow.
But yeah.
This is like a pick-me-up day. This is terrific.
No, man. I mean, like, how great is it? Because then, like, I gave up my other apartment because like my mom was going to have heart surgery and we weren't sure how good or bad it was going to be or what was going to be necessary or whatever. And so I was like, well, I'll give up my apartment. I'll come stay by you for a while. She was fine. The heart surgery wasn't even as bad as they thought it might. It was like literally, not bad. It was literally as good as it. It's basically the least complicated anything. Like it was like she was in and she was out and she was fine. Right? So I was like, okay, but since I've been traveling so much, I've just not even had a chance to like even get back into a new place. So now that I'm able to do it, it's like, okay, great. Now I can move into my new apartment. I have my company now, as opposed to before where I was working probably twice as hard, and not loving it as much. I'm so grateful for people that have wanted to start my company with me because that just building the company's brought so much joy into my life, So,
my goodness, wow.
Really, man, if you want me to be great, to tell you what I'm grateful for, we'll be on the air for another 30 minutes, man.
That's all right. We have another 36 minutes left, so we're okay on that.
Somebody else might want to call in, though.
Well, yeah, actually, if you do want to call in, don't wait. You can call in right now, 516-387-1258. I'll see your call on the board, and we can transfer over. But in the meantime, Matt, I'm happy to hear it. Tell me about the gratitude
list. Yeah, man. Dude, okay, so like I said, like my friend and I, we decided like, hey, we haven't hung out for a while. Let's go out. Let's go to this place, this cigar place. He's been telling me about this place, Nat Sherman's in the city. It's down by Grand Central, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's go. Like we've talked about going forever. We never went, so we went. While we were there, we were just hanging out, having a good time. They were getting ready to close, and they said, hey, by the way, you can take the cigars and you can go up to the Carnegie Club. And and they won't charge you a cut fee, what they call a tobacco fee, for bringing in your own tobacco, because they also sell it there. But you can sit there and smoke a cigar and have a cocktail and just relax, nice plushy little chairs, and you can order like little tapas or whatever. And it was like, yeah, this is going to be our night. This is the guy's night, right? So we go there, and while we're there, we're talking to the guy about, hey, we really like this place, show us around or whatever. And so, he showed us the rest of the place, the manager, and we decided to get a membership there, which means we have our own section of this. Basically, it's a built-in humidor that's in the wall that we can keep our cigars in. And so we got that last night. While we were there to sign up to join, they comped us. They had Sinatra night, where this guy has a live band. And he sings Frank Sinatra. If you close your eyes, you swear it's him. And they comped us the cover charge. They comped us around the drinks. We only had to pay for 1 month's membership, because they don't really pay you. They don't ask you for the whole thing until January. So we get like the rest of November for free. We only had to pay December. Plus they comped us all this stuff. We were going there expecting to spend like hundreds of dollars, and we walked out of there spending less than $100. You know what I mean? Like we were ready to spend $1,000 between the two of us. We walked out of there spending like maybe $200. They're like, yeah, give us we'll call you later for the rest. It's like it was amazing. It's amazing. It's like we met some really cool people that were sitting next to us at the end of the night, and it was just cool, man. It was just a really great night. Like it's like one of those nights where like I know I got to go to bed because we got to be up tomorrow, but otherwise we just stay out all night, man. It was just such a good time hanging out, chilling out, just enjoying the city, meeting new people. Everyone was so friendly. It was just great.
Boy, there are people out there who would plead for having as much in their vortex as you're having right now. Just amazing how much is going on. Just amazing. So if you're in the area, man, and you want to come to the cigar club, you can come to the cigar club. Hell, if I'm not there, if I'm not there, I can say, yeah. I'm not a cigar smoker myself, but yeah, absolutely. Let's do some live drop by. Oh my goodness! So,
we're so excited about that. Yeah.
I'm almost befuddled how you could have been worried about staying in the zone when you got all this stuff going on. You have so much good things going on.
If I have a problem, that's it. It's like psyching myself out. Like it's like I'm in the zone and I don't know I'm in the zone. It's like that. It's like that scene in Swingers, right? Where he's like, "Did you know your money and you don't even know it?" It's like,
yeah.
It's so easy when it's you sometimes you don't have the clarity that you need to see where you actually are. It's other people like yourself that are like, hey man, like wake up, look where you are, man. You're like in the best possible spot you could possibly be in.
And it's true. Like, we grew up being treated in a way that tells us don't buy into that. Don't buy into the fact, that those kinds of happiness doesn't last. It's fleeting and all that other kind of stuff. So we have all these negatives that are beaten into us from the moment we're born up until the moment we enter our first school, through our first job, and so on and so forth. So that's why we keep, tripping up. But what your story here is reminding all of us is, you've got a particularly great vortex going on right now. But like you said, even with all that, it was still easy for you to forget about it. Well, it's a reminder for all of us. We all have stuff that's good. Maybe not quite as good as what you got going right now, but we all have good stuff going on. We just have to take the time to remember it. And we're basically changing and fighting against and reversing all that stuff that was taught to us when we're growing up. Well, guess what? We don't have to be slaves to that. And that's what you're proving. We are in control. We get to decide what we're going to feel. And man, how exciting it is for you about what you're feeling right now.
And I'll tell you this, man, because I'll tell you, I've been on the other end of the spectrum. If there's anyone that's really feeling like, oh, that sounds too good to be true, or my life could never be like that, dude, I've been depressed, mega depressed in the past, horribly depressed, like suicidal, like on the edge. And I've been able, through the help of just people that were just willing to care and talk and share and like help you take one step forward. Let's get you one step. Let's just go one step at a time, It literally is one step at a time. You can take yourself from one end of the spectrum all the way to the other end. And I'm just so glad that I stuck around, man.
Well, that's actually an interesting question. What kept you going? Because like you said, you started in a really bad place, and when you're in that bad place, it's really easy to quit.
I thought of one person that would be disappointed. I was like, you know what, if I were to go, I would say, I think my niece would be really sad. And I'm like, I don't want my niece to be sad. I don't want to be the source of that. Like, that was enough to be like, you know what? I could handle one more day. If tomorrow is horrible, then all right, fine. Like, I gave myself the option of delaying it. And I'm like, let me one more day. And before you know it, things started to get just a little bit better and a little bit better. And it got bad again once or twice, a couple times along the way. It got bad again, but then it came back up again. And so it's
how long do you think it took you? I mean, because it's different for every person. So in your case,
so
how long did it take before you felt something good?
Well, I did get a little bit of a bump, like within that first week after I decided, like, no, I'm not gonna do any. I went to go visit one friend that I knew would be happy to see me. You know what I mean? And that's what helped. And along the way, then I went to visit my sister. And then I was like, I'm gonna forget about everything else. I'm not gonna worry about whatever. I'm just gonna sit here for as long as I need to. And I stayed with her for a couple of weeks, and she was happy to have me. And I was like, you know what? I probably should get back. I had a friend that really cared about me, that held my job for me. He's like, come back anytime you're ready, because he knew where I was at. He's just like, I'm sorry you're struggling, and I understand, and your job is here waiting for you. And I tell you what, knowing that also helped me so much. Like, there's a lot of people that really played a role when they didn't once they realized how bad it was, they were like, oh, because, sometimes we assume people know, but they don't know. They're dealing with their own stuff,
of course.
And maybe they don't know or they don't understand. But, like I said, I mean, over the course of several years, there's definitely been ups and downs, but like right now, this is like an amazing peak right now. This is really great.
And I hope you just ride it, because this is the best.
Oh man, there's no stopping, man. I'm going to the moon.
Now you of course know the concept about paying forward, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So what have you given any thought lately to how you're going to help pay some of this forward?
Well, I'm doing it right now. I have friends right now that are struggling around me, and I'm like, You know what? Like, I'm gonna do what I can to help them, and give them encouragement. I help them out with bills every once in a while if I have extra and they need some help. That always does something. But even just being like, look, I can see you're really upset. We're gonna go away for the weekend. We're gonna go away we're gonna go on a day trip together. We're gonna go see a show. We're gonna go to a concert.
Nice.
We're gonna go out to dinner. Let me treat you to dinner. Change your environment. I'd say for me, the biggest thing was when I got to change my environment. If you're in a low point, whatever you can do to change your environment and put yourself in a more positive environment, it does wonders. Get dressed up. Go out somewhere. Even if you can't afford to buy something, just go walk around other people that are dressed up and look nice. You'd be amazed how fast you start to feel better about yourself and about life.
That's so true. Oh my goodness, that's so true.
Anything to raise your vibration.
Yeah. Just change, like you said, getting out of the stuck place, because that's what that bad environment is. It's a stuck place. And the physical act
feels like
of taking
no
the
escape.
steps. Yeah, just even if you're taking steps for an hour to get away from it, it shifts things. It's what Mike Dooley calls the only actions you have to take, the little steps. And it is. It's the only actions you have to take is the little steps.
And one of the things that helped me a lot, even just in the past 2 months, was getting up and just doing some exercise, even as little as I could do, even if it was walking on the treadmill for 15 minutes, doing some kind of motion, some kind of activity. It's cleared my head. Listening to something funny, watching something on TV for a minute, take a half an hour out of your day and take a break. Stuff like that is what's really, really been good.
And you're moving very soon to the all-time greatest place for going out for a walk.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I could walk north and walk through the park, or I could go south a couple of blocks and I could be in Times Square. I could be by Rockefeller Center. I mean, really,
it doesn't really matter, though, where you are. I mean, my wife and I last lived in Virginia in a relatively rural area. Say that 3 times fast. Relatively rural area. But it was like about 50 miles from D.C., but it was still very farm-like. And the neighborhood we lived in, I mean, it didn't even have a road you could walk on. It was like a 45-mile-per-hour road, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a small neighborhood behind us. So I would go walk through the back neighbor's yard to that neighborhood and just walk there. And it wasn't very big. I mean, the total walk was probably a half a mile. But that alone,
mm-hmm.
just that alone would help. I mean, and there were times where my wife would go with me. I remember one particular time we were walking along, and all of a sudden, my wife at the time was working in daycare, and all of a sudden she saw one of the kids in daycare. She didn't even know they lived over there. And the kid saw her and got all excited. Mommy, you'll never guess who's here. You never know what's going to happen on one of these walks. You never know how it's going to play out. Something's going to come along and just shake you out of your doldrum.
Yeah, and even if it's going to a local coffee shop, you know, someplace close by, and just saying hi to one person that you've seen work there. You say hi to that person once or twice. The next time you come in, they're going to recognize you. They're going to say hi to you. They're going to say nice to meet you. And just getting that kind of feedback from somebody else also boosts you up, you know? Who doesn't
Very good point.
Getting a warm welcome from someone, even if it's from someone down the street, you know, someone who's going to pour you your coffee. They say, hey, How are you? Good morning. Good to see you again. Hope you have a good day. Like, sometimes you might be so low that it just rolls off you don't let it in. But after like 2 or 3 times, if that's part of your rituals, I'm going to go for a short walk. I'm going to get a coffee. I'm going to say good morning to the next person, and I'm going to go home. You do that for about a week, and all of a sudden you're feeling a little bit brighter. You're looking forward to going. You're looking forward to seeing that smiling face, and then it just goes up and up from there.
Absolutely. In fact, I do the same thing with we have one of these Rails to Trails paths near us, and I go out and take my walks on that path. And I made it a point for about a 3-month period. Every single time I went out there, I was looking for at least 3 people who I would pass along the way, who I would either smile at or say hello to with a smile. And then I turned it into I had to always say hello with a smile. And I couldn't just do a smile. You know, I kind of built myself up to it and did that for like 2 or 3 months in a row. It's gotten to the point now where I can't take a walk without getting greeted by everybody that comes by. And it does wonders for me. It just fills me up with energy in a way that I never would have expected. So I absolutely second what you're saying. It's really important to just reach out and touch people on the simplest basis, because you never know what's going to come out of it.
You never know, yeah. You never know. You could be helping that person. Maybe that person's having as bad a day as you are, and they've hustled it together, and they've pulled themselves up and dragged themselves outside, and now you're also that smiling face, you know? And that's what I mean, because this idea of like a man is his island or something, and you have to be able to do it all by yourself is, in my opinion, crap.
It is crap.
Why shouldn't we be able to lean on each other and learn from each other? And because that's if you're by yourself, there's no one else to love. You know what I mean? Like, spread it around, spread the wealth. You know.
Absolutely, yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with loving yourself. You're supposed to, but you don't have to limit it to that. It's not like it's one or the other, you know. The other thing too is that when there was one particular woman I'm thinking of who I would see on the path when I was walking every day, and this was a woman who every time I saw her, I would greet her, and she'd give me the little flick of the eyes and turn away and had a very sour look on her face, and she'd walk on. And day after day, she'd go by, and I would just decide I was going to say hello to her anyway, you know, to heck with her lack of response. I did this for about 4 or 5 times that I saw her. The 6th time that I saw her, she looked at me and said, hello, and looked away again. So there was a little bit of a break in there. And that's the kind of thing that happens. You never know who it's going to happen with, but you reach people, even people who are just buried inside themselves, and eventually, even just a little bit, they come out. And when they come out, it's an amazing jolt of energy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited, man.
I think you have every reason to be, Matt. I mean, do me a favor, will you? When you get the apartment, call us back, okay? Tell us the story about how it all came together.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because we need that kind of thing. Hey, best of luck, and I know it's all going to work out, in the best possible way, so have a fun ride.
All right, you bet. All right,
thanks for calling in. Take care.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Wow, Matt, what a wonderful story he had to tell us today. That was just terrific. We've got about 19 minutes left, or give or take. A couple things that I wanted to talk about. First of all, for those of you who are trying to call the number because you're hearing this during the regular broadcast of the show on Thursday, that's why you can't get through. We're recording this on Sunday. Our normal recording time is Sunday at 11 a.m., although I'm hoping to expand that, as I said toward the beginning of the show. I'm hoping to expand it so that we'll have actually more people like David, more law of attraction coaches coming on, but more importantly, doing a more regular show. My goal is to get us doing a show every day of the week, or at least 6 days out of the week. Whether or not we're going to get there soon, I don't know. But, hey, I'm putting it out there because that's what we want, and I'm reaching out, trying to find people to be co-hosts. So there's going to be more and more opportunities for you to call in. I just don't know when it's going to happen just yet. A few more things I wanted to share. One thing I wanted to share is Abraham Hicks, obviously, is somebody we talk about a lot. And for those of you who have not explored Abraham Hicks, I urge you to do so. Even if you're not real crazy about how the spiritual side of what they teach works, that's okay. You can still get a lot out of it because there's so much good in it. The homepage for Abraham Hicks, as you might expect, is abraham-hicks.com. And just go there. And if nothing else, sign up for the email list. It's a free email. It comes every day. And it's that little pick-me-up that helps you get through the day. So I wanted to mention doing that. Also, I'm a fan of going through the material and finding great stuff. And one of the really great things that Esther Hicks did one time while voicing Abraham at one of their Art of Allowing workshops is she did like a 10-minute rampage, we'll call it, of all these good affirmations to say. And the one thing that's a little bit tedious about Abraham Hicks is that when Esther is trying to translate what thoughts Abraham is giving her, she tends to be very repetitive in her language. It can be a little bit tiring. So I took that rant and took out the repetitive parts and turned it into something that I find now to be really pretty good. I've been reading it to myself every day to give myself a good pick-me-up first part of the day. And I thought I would read it to you, and if you wanted, you could use something like this. In fact, if you're interested in getting the printed version, send me an email at walt@loatoday.net, and I'll be happy to send it to you. But let me read it to you. It says, this is something that you read first while you're going to sleep, and then you also read it in the morning when you wake up. It says, while I sleep, momentum ceases for me. My point of attraction rests. And when I awaken in the morning, I have pushed the reset button, and now I can jump in at any vibrational point that I choose. And I choose to jump into a really general place. It's a beautiful thing. It feels good to be me. Life has been good to me, and life is supposed to be good. Life is vibrational, and I am a translator of vibration. Law of attraction exists and creates momentum, and I choose the direction of my momentum. When I choose the direction of my momentum, it becomes obvious to me. I can't get it wrong, and this is all for fun. The entire universe cooperates to show me in endless ways what I've got going on vibrationally. I am worthy, and Source is on my side. Now, I can think out of alignment with Source, and I always feel it. And I can guide myself back into vibrational alignment with who I really am. Whether I do or not, Source still loves me. Source never takes attention from me. Anytime I decide to lean in that direction, it's right there for me to hook up with it. I get to create my own reality. There's no rush to any finish line, and it's all for the pleasure of experiencing it. Now, other people are here like me doing the same thing. We are all in this together. We offer benefit to one another. Essentially, we are all the same. We are all love and clarity looking for a place to happen. That's who we naturally, innately are. I like being in this physical body and the knowledge, the intelligence of my cells. Alignment takes place naturally, even without me knowing about it. Many things are already queued up for my success that I don't even have to think about at all. I figured out my place in all of this, and I love the contrast of my life. Exposure that I have to life generates pure desire within me. I love wanting new cars, new houses, physical wellness, dollars that are portable and wonderful to exchange. I love living, embracing life, engaging in all of the physical things and being physical. I like my emotional basis when I allow it to increase momentum unfettered by contradictory thought. The power of creation flows through me. I am a focusing mechanism. Source flows and focuses through me. I like being a benefit to Source. The universe expands, and I am a part of that. I love the feeling of my part in the expansion. Oh, do I love an idea? The feeling of an idea when it occurs to me. I love being present and conscious, realizing an idea that is expanding within me because I am not restricting it with contradictory thought. Energy moves and Source creates through me. I add to this environment in a positive way, and I love the experience of tuning my frequency to that of Source and being the catalyst for others to tune their frequency as well. I love being a physical being in this time-space reality, knowing what I know, that I can't get it wrong and I'll never get it done. I am an eternal being. I will always be present. My consciousness is real and is always focused. The consciousness of all those who lived before me is still alive and real and available to me. Infinite intelligence is available to me. All I have to do is softly allow a frequency of well-being just for a little while, and law of attraction will add to it until I have access to infinite intelligence on any subject in the world. I can expand as far and as fast as I decide to. I only have to find something to feel good about, or just remember the emotion of feeling good. We are not being measured against one another. We are all here in support and advantage to each other on the same trajectory. I acknowledge the diversity of that which is us and recognize the perfection of that diversity. I can be in this place where I can feel such clarity of what Source feels. I can look out onto the world and feel good about everything that I see because in alignment with Source, I will not be able to see things that are not in the same alignment. This world is expanding, and I play my part in the expansion. And what I'm focusing on right now is important enough that a new thought becomes available. And I love the feeling of that new thought. I am so unique in my expression of life here that there is never a duplication of anything. I'm not regurgitating anything. I'm not copying anything anybody else is doing. I live in this time-space reality, launching my unique rockets of desire, and I can feel the way Source revels with me in the launching. I can feel the enthusiasm that Source has in each expansion of the universe that occurs every moment of every day. I love knowing the unyielding, ever-offered, undeniable, unconditional love that Source feels for me and for everyone else. I bask in the environment of that well-being. I love the soup that we all make up. I love the experience of creation even more than I love what I am creating. And I understand that if I did not have an object of attention to create, I could not experience this deliberate experience of creation. I am a creator. I live for the experience of creation. I am a co-creator. I live for the experience of co-creating with both my non-physical partners and with my physical partners for the expansion of all that is. Life is so good for me and for all of us. We are all in this together. This is the perfect time to be alive. There's nothing better for me to ever be doing than whatever it is I am doing right here, right now, finding the fullness of this moment in time. There's not someplace else I should be or that I'd rather be. There's not something else I should be doing or that I'd rather be doing. I'm fully invested, fully focused in this moment, reaching for my center of well-being, and then allowing the universe to show me how far I'm able to go right now with each thing I think or do. It's a cheering section behind me all the time with all the love and support that could ever be offered to me and to everyone else, no exception. All I have to do is find the frequency and practice it until it's my normal frequency. Now, if you'd like a copy of that, feel free to send me an email. Like I said, walt@loatoday.net. I'll be happy to send it to you. If you want to call in, we got about 10 minutes left. You can call in, and we can try to cover something in the last minutes of the show. Otherwise, I will probably... I had some news articles I wanted to look at. Let me see if I can try to bring any of those news articles up. I saw the one that I talked about to Matt earlier, the Los Angeles Times article called "The Key to a Happy Life." gratitude that goes beyond Thanksgiving. If you are in a place where you need more energy, that's probably a good article for you to read. You can Google it. It is published on today. It's part of the LA Times today, which is November 18th. I'm sorry, it was published yesterday, November 18th. Today we're broadcasting this on November 19th. It's actually 4 broadcasts on PRN. We have an interesting calendar. It's actually 4 broadcasts on Thanksgiving Day, November 23rd. But, so it depends which day you're looking at. But the point is, this is a recent article. It's one you can look up. And I mentioned a few of the bullet points. Some of the other bullet points that are really interesting in this article, other than the ones that I mentioned to Matt while we were talking when he called in. Point number 2, gratitude helps fight addiction. If you're dealing with addiction, that's a really key point to know, because gratitude is how you can become unstuck with addiction. In fact, it's a key part of 12-step programs. Gratitude can help you positively reframe not just the present, but the past and future. So it's a way of shifting the way you've been thinking about stuff and the way you continue to think about stuff, and in the process, shifting what's going on in your life. Third point that it makes, the first point was that gratitude empowers you, and Matt and I talked about that. The third point is that it combats the Facebook blues. Now, that's something we don't hear much about, but everybody now is on social media. And as the person who is quoted in the article, Chris Nelson, she's the executive director of gratefulness.org, as she pointed out in the article, she says, in a consumer culture, we're driven to see what we don't have. And Facebook social media is only making it worse. It can feel like we're all living in some kind of substandard world, that something should be different. And that's a form of suffering, as opposed to seeing that life is a gift. Well, gratitude changes that. When you express gratitude, you're no longer stuck in that mode. It's a way of climbing out of those Facebook blues, as she calls it. I mean, that's a really important point. There's so much opportunity in our society to feel depressed. Matt touched on that. Matt and I touched on it while he was calling in, about all the different ways that we are fed from birth to feel negative about stuff. Gratitude is how we turn that around. It's one of the best tools that we have. Not the only one. Anything that's a positively based emotion is good. Gratitude, though, is positively based, and it's something that we can spend a lot more time on, because it takes some time, to lay out. Look at the time that Matt laid out all the good things that he was feeling grateful for. And notice what happened when he was doing it. He was getting so excited the more and more he realized, because we all do that, don't we? We forget that there is so much to feel good about in our own lives. Maybe not quite as much as what Matt's feeling right now, but eventually we all get there just by focusing on the positives. And even when you're feeling negative, you still have positive things that are going on. But if you don't spend any time paying attention to them, then they don't really work for you. They don't actually work on your behalf. One of the things that Louise and I like to do, Louise, my wife, every day we like to do what we call the 3 gratitudes. And that is, at the end of the day, we try to identify 3 good things that happened that day. It may be 3 things that we did. They may be things that happened to us. They may be things that happened around us. It may be just that the sun came out. I mean, it can be anything. It doesn't really matter how big or small it is. The point is to remember them. Because as we remember them, as we recall, oh, yeah, good thing A happened today. I forgot about that. Oh, yeah, good thing B happened today. I forgot about that. We begin to realize all these things that are good that we're forgetting about simply because all the media and so forth are focusing us on negative. So we begin to think in our reptilian minds that we are stuck in negativity. Well, we're not. We just have to refocus on the good things that happen. That's what the 3 gratitudes do for you. They give you a way every single day to remember, oh, good things are happening. And the more you do that, you are essentially retraining your mind to believe that life is good. Life does have positive impacts. Life is going somewhere for you, and that your life is improving every single day. It's a funny thing. It's something that a lot of the positive psychology people have been telling us about. If you haven't read a book called The Happiness Advantage by Sean Aker, you want to read that one. Sean is particularly good at teaching this stuff. Even though he's not a law of attraction person, hey, that's okay. His focus on positive psychology is terrific. One of the things that he teaches in his book, The Happiness Advantage, and that others in the positive psychology movement have been teaching us for quite some time now, is that happiness comes before success. That's a lesson that we can learn from what Matt has been going through. Matt told us how he was in a very depressed state, And he had a couple of slight increases, and then he fell off, and slight increases, and then fell off. And then over time, by constantly working on building up his positive associations and finding things to feel joyful and happy about, success started to come to him. So now he has this fabulous new business he started up. He's about to get a terrific apartment on Central Park South, the best part in Manhattan to be. I mean, it's just coming together for him in a big, big way. And yet, if you had asked him whether that was going to happen back when he was feeling depressed, I'm sure I know what his answer would have been. Oh, no, that's so unlikely. Are you kidding? But look what happened. He took the steps. He kept trying to work on finding the positives, finding the silver linings, finding the good things to think about. And over time, he kept reprogramming his mind and, in essence, setting himself up to draw in all the great things that are now happening in his life. It works. It really does work. So what are you grateful for? This is being broadcast on PRN on Thanksgiving Day. What are you grateful for? Think about that. It isn't just what you're grateful for today. It's what you're going to be grateful for today. And then tomorrow you're going to think about what the new things are that you're grateful for. And if you're stuck, you're having trouble finding what those things are, then use the 3 gratitudes game. By the way, the 3 gratitudes game is fine for doing by yourself, but it's even better to do it with a friend or a spouse, someone who you're close with, because then you can kind of remind each other, oh yeah, we got to do the 3 gratitudes before we go to sleep tonight. I can't tell you how many times Louise and I saved ourselves on that by one of us saying it and the other one saying, oh yeah, we forgot about that. Well, that's the advantage. If you got more than one person, that's even better. I mean, if you can do it with like a group Skype call or a FaceTime call on iPhone or whatever, do it that way. Get a number of people involved, and you're all sharing with it. And the really nice thing is, when you're sharing it in a large number like that, or the largest number you can get, even if it's just one other person, you are also you're sharing in their victories. And when you share when you hear what the other person had that happened that was good, you're just feeding one more good piece of information into your subconscious mind, and it's one more piece of programming. That's the goal every day. You're trying to feed this programming into your mind that counters all that negativity that's out there. And you really can counter it. Even though there's so much more negativity than there is of the positives that you're putting in, your positives are actually a lot more powerful. And it doesn't take real long. It takes some days, but it doesn't take real long before you start to notice, oh, yeah, I'm looking at things a little bit differently. I'm looking at things like, it's not quite as bad as it was a week ago. It's not great yet, but it's not quite as bad. It's getting a little bit better. And it's getting a little bit better. The key is just to keep doing it all the time. You want to do it every moment of the day that you can. If you're working an 8 or 10 hour day or whatever, that doesn't mean that you stop. You just, you keep finding times during the day to focus on it. And you keep focusing, and eventually it just gets better and better and better. So anyway, we're down to the last minute here. I do want to remind people, if you have not subscribed, subscribe at our website. That's loatoday.net. There's a button there that you can subscribe to the podcast, get it fed to your smartphone. We urge you to do that. And you can also find us in the Apple iTunes. You can also find us in Google Play. So, whatever way you want to subscribe, but please do, because first of all, we can see when people are downloading, so we know that we're growing, which, by the way, we continue to do. And secondly, it helps fuel us. This is how you help us, but most importantly, it helps you. This is a great way to get positives every day. So please do keep getting those positives. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to tune in this evening at 7 p.m., or if you're listening on PRN, you'll have to go to the podcast to subscribe to hear it. But Joel Elson's going to be joining us, and it's going to be a great time, so please do come. And thank you for coming to join us today here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.